Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Couch Warrior podcast. As always, I'm your host, Mike, and today I'm here with Keanan Patershuk. I'm sorry.
All
How's
good, brother.
how's it going, Keenan?
I'm good, man. You?
Good, good, good. So I like to start my interviews about the same every time. Like to start from the beginning. So how'd you get into MMA?
That's a good question. I was working a regular job like everyone else. I had a couple kids, and long story short, I had flipped a couple houses. We had gone on a big family trip, and we were kind of reevaluating kind of what life was going to be like when we got back. And I was the type of guy who would work out for like 2 hours a day, even after working a 12-hour shift. So I had to put my athleticism somewhere, and I knew I would always be good at it. So yeah, I'd always really loved combat sports, like everything from boxing to like it's always been a passion of mine. So I told my wife when I get back I wanted to like dive headfirst into it, right? And so I balanced that and the job when I first started, and then once we kind of got her career lifted off as well, I went at it full time.
Oh, so you're full time now?
Full time now, yeah. Like I'll still I'm a tradesman, so like if there's the opportunity where like I can slip in a little shutdown or something for some extra cash, I will. But yeah, no, I fully commit my time to fighting.
How is that? Kind of changing your life completely, going from not really training to training full time.
I mean, like I said, right? Like I could have a bagger of a day, and I still need that to turn my engine over like that. No, training full time is it's like a dream come true for me. Like you can't overtrain me in a day. You know what I mean? Like I love every aspect of it. It doesn't matter if it's you're drilling technique, you're sparring, I'm lifting weights, I'm doing dry land. You just recover harder.
I got you. Did you do any sports beforehand? Anything else?
Yeah. I played junior hockey, of course, Canadian, right, for like 5+ years, and then before that, when I was a young man, it was just every type of contact sport you can imagine.
Did you ever get in a fight in hockey?
Lots. Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
on the ice?
my job was to bounce people around, and if people got out of line, I'd beat them up. And besides that, I was decent on the penalty kill, and I was fast. So,
So you had a little experience coming into MMA.
oh yeah. Like I was a 16-year-old fighting 20-year-old men. Yeah. So yeah, no, like yeah, there isn't a fight out there that's gonna scare me. Obviously, you gotta pick and choose your battles, experience wise. But yeah, no, nothing I'm not used to.
Do you ever feel like a little more nervous than going into a fight than maybe like a different one? Like,
You know what? In amateur, yeah. When I first started out, it was it's a different atmosphere. Like even playing in front, like you playing a couple thousand people in hockey, it's a completely different atmosphere. I thought it would be like a really close adjustment, and my cardio is like the best part of my game by far. I remember that my first fight, it went into the second round, and I remember in between like rounds, I'm looking at my corner and I'm like, dude, this doesn't make sense. Like I can do like 12 fives at a decent clip with like 30-second break in between, and I'm not tired. How am I tired after a 3-minute round? So definitely different adrenaline dump. It took a little bit of getting used to, but yeah, no, from fight to fight, it doesn't really change for me anymore. It's like I'm still, not nervous, scared, nervous, excited, right? And like for the most part, my nerves are pretty calm. But yeah, no, it doesn't matter who the opponent is. No.
I got you. Was it a little different going into your last fight? Were you like a main event? Did that change anything?
No, not really. I mean, my last fight didn't go my way, unfortunately. I got impatient and I dove in early and I paid the price for it. And I tip my hat off to Kyle for that. He set it up perfectly. It's unfortunate. That was a fight that me and my camp and my team that I knew I could win. And if I ever got another chance, I'd love another opportunity. But that's a little bit ways down the road now. I got some catch up to do.
I got you. Was there anything in that fight that surprised you?
No, everything is exactly kind of how I thought it would be. I definitely wasn't expecting the elbow off the right hand, but again, I darted in blindly against a southpaw, right, and he timed it perfectly. He hung in there. Yeah, no, I can't say anything bad about him for that fight. He caught me. It is what it is.
What's your mindset kind of after a loss? You know, like do you come back with the chip on your shoulder? Do you need a second? You know.
I mean, yeah, I think it depends on the person, honestly. No, I definitely don't come back with a chip on my shoulder. You know, like losing is part of any sport, obviously, as much as you don't want to lose, obviously. Like I'm the most competitive person you'll ever meet. Like I don't I have problem losing to like cards against my kids. You know what I mean? I'll let them win, but no, I don't have a chip coming back. It's more so just an eagerness to get back in the cage and get back on a winning streak in which I know it's not going to be a problem. You know, the disappointing part is, you know, being at that point where, you know, you have the major promotions looking at you and you're on the doorstep, and then it's life. It is what it is. And I got to rack up a couple more good finishes and recapture their attention again. And that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Are you open to like any major promotion, or are you mostly focused on the UFC?
I mean, I'm not married to the UFC by any means. I mean, don't get me wrong, love the promotion. I've been watching them since a kid. I would love to compete for them. I think it'd probably be where I'm best suited for sure. I like to finish fights, and yeah, there's nothing wrong with the PFL or Bellator. Love them both, but yeah, what kid haven't you not watched UFC growing up, and that's kind of like the headlining promotion. But happy either way.
So you're a big UFC fan, like you've been watching for a long time?
Yeah. Since I was a kid, absolutely. And then as the PFL and Bellator have trickled in, I've not as much have watched, but I definitely have tuned in. Yeah.
Are there any like fighters that you kind of look up to or have modeled yourself after?
I mean, to look up to, not necessarily, but like, if, yeah. Hmm. If I had to pick like a current favorite fighter over like the past 5 years, I love, well, two of them. I love Robert Whitaker, and I love Volkanovski.
Let's go. Whitaker is my favorite.
Dude, the Reaper, like he's such a complete fighter. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I love everything about him. I love his striking. I love his grappling, and the same goes with Volk. I think they're both like incredible fight IQ monsters. Yeah. If I had to pick two current guys, that's it for sure. Love Yoel Romero.
Hell
Definitely,
yeah.
I have a yeah. I got a touch of him in me for sure. But
So you mentioned earlier that you like finishing fights, and I mean it's on your record. You all your fights have finished in the first round, all your
yeah,
wins, and except one amateur fight where you finished them in the second. But
yeah.
is that something that finishing instinct? Is that something you had, or is that something you had to work on?
No, it's something that's always been there. Honestly, the biggest hurdle through all my fights, because I haven't been at it long. The hardest part is that patience, and it had gotten better every fight. I just been getting so comfortable in my striking, my grappling, and then yeah, I've never felt so good before a fight. I don't know why. Last fight, I even like my whole thing was I'm not going to throw that overhand because it's the only thing he's banking on, and it's like the third third strike I threw. Yeah, so no, the patience more than anything. As for that killer instinct is something that's just there. Like when you see someone get hurt, if you don't have, just not rushing in blindly, but if you don't have that urgency to finish the fight when someone is, wobbled or phased, you're going to miss out on an opportunity, whether it be a submission or a strike.
Do you find that it's like kind of hard to stick to a game plan once you're actually in the cage and fighting?
Um, no, not necessarily. Right? You'll game plan for someone as best you can. Once you're in the cage, you do have to just kind of react and act to what's happening in the cage, right? Because you can expect someone to come out and do one thing, and they'll do completely the other. So you can game plan as much as you want for a guy, but a lot of it's reactionary, and you have to go out there and yeah, you have to initiate your game plan to a point, but you're gonna have to adapt.
Gotcha. So kind of to that point, do you tape your opponents at all, or do your coaches do that?
Oh, both of us, absolutely. Yeah. No, it doesn't matter if I'm taking it on a month's notice or 2 weeks' notice. Yeah, watch a ton of film, a ton.
I gotcha. So you went pro relatively recently, and I always kind of wondered, like, what goes into the decision to go from amateur to pro?
Um, I mean, I could have built up, a bigger amateur record and got, a couple more filler fights in, but like, I turned pro when I was 29, and not that it's like old in MMA. Like a lot of guys start late. It's just I felt where I was at that point, and like, and especially a lot of the people I was training with were high level guys, and like not only the UFC but a couple of Bellator dudes and that kind of thing. And the pace I could put on and how I was hanging with them, I was like, there's no point for me to be hanging out in amateur. I can, they don't have to be hard fights right off the rip. I'll just start getting my beak wet in pro and see how it goes, which is kind of the whole plan to begin with. And yeah, it just took off, and I've just been getting better and better ever since.
Gotcha. So you came into MMA, you didn't really have like a wrestling background or anything, right?
No, sir. No, not at all. I dabbled a bit as a kid with like some boxing classes and that kind of thing, and then like fighting and hockey, but no, never came in with wrestling, jiu-jitsu, striking background at all. But it's stuck real fast.
What have you found harder to learn, the grappling or the striking aspects?
Neither.
Neither.
Like and maybe that's because I haven't been doing it like some of these guys since I was like 16 years old. Like that was different for me playing hockey as a kid, right? That's all I did. But no, I don't get bored with any of it. Like I'm still like a sponge. No, I wouldn't say one's harder than the other whatsoever. It's been
Gotcha.
a steady progression in both.
Nice. Where are you
Yeah.
training now?
Warrior Camp in Spokane.
Okay, you're there full time.
Yeah, well, for the most part, summer's a little dodgy just because 3 kids, no school. So I dump them off with my wife as often as I can. Within the next week or two here, though, I'll be there 5 days a week.
Gotcha. Who
Yeah.
do you train with over there normally? Who are your main training partners?
Main training partners, Brian McDowell. He's got him BKFC fight coming up actually, like 2-3 weeks. And then Terrence McKinney is still out of there. I think he's down in Florida at the moment, though. Those are the two main guys, two main pro guys. And then there's also Mikey Sear. Yeah, no, it's a great camp. And then Pablo Alfonso, the head coach, and Crew Phillips. Yeah, they're geniuses when it comes to striking and grappling. They're really really good coaches. Awesome.
Nice. I was actually gonna ask about Terrence because he's one of my favorite UFC fighters. He's not ranked or anything, but I
I love
love
it.
the way the dude fights. I
Oh
love the
yeah.
way he fights.
Oh, he's awesome. He's exciting. He's a really really good guy. Good training partner. Yeah.
You guys are kind of cut from the same cloth with all the early finishes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's you got a little bit of speed on me though. He's quick.
Do you think you would take like a short notice opportunity to UFC or PFL, whatever, something like Terrence did?
Without a doubt. Like once you get to a certain point, it's you don't pick and choose when those big promotions call. You take the call.
Nice. That makes sense. So
Yeah.
last question I got for you. Can you talk about your nickname real quick? Parada?
Parada?
Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Parada. Yeah. It's Brazilian. It basically means like beat 'em, like brawling, like it's
Who came up with it?
my first coach I had in Canada. It was after my first couple amateur fights. It was just apparent that like you said, that finishing instinct, once I had someone hurt, it was just beat the brakes off him until he gives up, basically.
I got you. It's a good nickname. Definitely fits.
It fits.
But all right, Keanan, that's all I got for you, man. Thanks for coming on, taking the time. Before we hop
Absolutely,
out,
brother.
if you want to plug anything, plug your socials or whatever, go ahead.
Sounds good, man. Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, man. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too.